So this is my reflection on Youthtopia. I apologize, I had to refilm it due to the issue with Flip. But so to begin with, like the first question on whether I could relate to the people during this time 50 years ago, being transplants and college educated and moving to this type of place. For me, I think it's a little bit difficult to put myself in those shoes just because I don't really feel like it would be something I'd be able to do at this point because obviously I have certain, values and things, especially at this point in my life. I see, working in a big city and, experiencing a lot of different things that I don't think I necessarily could get being pretty like isolated, I guess, in Vermont. But I do think that there are certain characteristics that make it interesting to think about in terms of the fact that like during this time, obviously people there were seeking, freedoms. They were trying to get away from their realities. And for me, obviously, my reality right now is something I want to embrace in terms of, graduating from college and being able to go into the workforce. And while these things sound like rather cliche, they're also, important things that I think that for me are priorities right now. So it's difficult to really align myself and put myself in those shoes. But I think, reflecting on it, looking, at the younger pictures of Yvonne Daly and being able to kind of hear a little bit about the communes from the readings that we read, it is interesting because like when I see the young pictures of her, like there are parts of it that kind of relate to myself and the way she seems to be like happy and out trying to break off the beaten path and kind of create your own reality is something that is relatively relatable. Obviously there are certain like priorities for me that I think that would be hard to get in a place like that. But I do think, we get tastes of that in terms of going to college here. I see like minor, alignments in terms of like as a senior, I look back and like my friends now are really people who have similar interests and beliefs, not beliefs, but interests and, values and goals for the future. And I think, when they describe certain places like Total Loss Farm, it was like for intellectuals, like it's like they're being created on they're being lived in and like kind of curated by the same or like-minded people, which obviously would be something that I think is a place where a lot of people can thrive, because I think a lot of potential comes with being able to throw ideas off each other, but also we really do value from the different ideas. And I think that's when really true progress and growth comes together, which we see a little bit with like Earthworks and how they were looking to like really like unify people for the good, I guess. And then kind of moving on to the video that we watched. So after watching the video on Iraq Santee, I definitely think there are a lot of like alignments in terms of the society that they have created there out in the desert in Arizona and the communes in Vermont. For starters, I think both of them are kind of like just offshoots of reality in terms of like the thinking of 50 or 60 years ago in Vermont. A lot of these people were not given the same, equal freedoms and liberties that they deserved, and they were really seeking something more. I think the difference with Iraq Santee is the fact that like these people understand the mainland society, like they mentioned in the video, and they're also embracing it, but they're really trying to like see where it's going. And they're looking to like create it in a form where they can seek like the most potential, and they're like connected to the outside world still, but it is in a similar sense of the communes because they are kind of looking to create their own thing, and they feel what they're building there is like more sustainable and better than what mainstream society entails. One thing that I think was a little bit different was just the fact that in Araxanti, it seems that, you know, they were really looking for things that are really prevalent for today. Obviously, in Vermont and the communes, like they were kind of based more on freedoms and personal liberties, and also like some of them, such as I think it was Quarry Hill, where like there was like nearly ruleless and there wasn't like really much order, and that really led to like such the disarray and the issues and why they sold it. And like in a place like you know, like Total Loss Farm, like it didn't really, it wasn't a sustainable thing for like their children to grow up in. Like it wasn't something that those people chose. It wasn't really like generationally um you know, it didn't have that fruitfulness. But I think that there are a lot of differences in terms of like Araxanti, where like these are things that like the mainstream society could take note of. Like by mentioning like populating the desert, like economically and socially, like it's rather complex, but there are things there that like really could have been embraced or can be embraced where by the actual society. And obviously the architect who built it was in 1970, so there could have been you know, inspiration in some ways from the communes in Vermont. Obviously I don't know that, but it's a possibility that that could have been a little bit of an inspiration or a you know, a turning point for kind of this being a similar type of thing. But it was really interesting to see it in present day kind of put to life, and where people have like the public like channels and things like that. Like that was a really interesting feature that I didn't really see in the communes, which kind of shows their difference.